a difference a week makes. Been a funny old week.
It has been a funny old week. A massively funny old week.
Crazy week.
Welcome to Fire Mountain.
Yes.
Episode 38. Great to have you with us. We're really excited that you're here joining us online. 6 p.m. Sunday evening.
At the new time of 6 p.m. At the new length of 30 plus, give or so, hour 15 minutes.
Can we just say, not one of you bothered to email saying congratulations on a half-hour episode.
Well,
not one of you.
It wasn't quite half an hour, was it? It's 35 minutes.
35 minutes, but that's about half an hour for us. Let's not even joke about it.
That's true. You watched a funeral this week?
I did watch the funeral this week.
Thoughts?
And I thought some of it was really cool. Some of it felt really historic. And in some of it, I thought, I don't understand what's going on here.
Like what?
Like, okay, you know when they actually lowered it down? I like the whole lowering into the vault. It felt very like Indiana Jones.
Okay.
This is how it should be. But they break a stick and put it onto the... What is that about?
That's a scepter, right? It's to signify the end of a reign.
No, it's just a long wooden stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that represents a scepter, doesn't it?
No, because they took the gold. They took the gold scepter off.
No, I know that.
Put it down, and then they broke a wooden stick and put it on her coffin.
Yeah, I think that's to symbolise this is the end of. Obviously, they're not going to break a scepter, but I'm pretty sure like a stick is like a symbol for leadership, isn't it?
So what you're saying is
Moses, you got the Moses.
Seat of power, a stick.
Well, cheap, and in this economy, that's quite good.
Oh,
you don't want to bury in gold, do you?
What did you
I
make
loved
of it?
I thought it was great. I thought what I thought was great is I thought it was Jesus centric.
Yeah.
More so than I expected, and I thought it would be pretty Jesus centric. Thought the scripture reading was sincere. I thought watching the Prime Minister reading the scripture of Jesus saying, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," to all of those global superpowers sat in the room.
Yeah.
I thought this is so cool. And there's one moment, I think, at the end of that, one of the songs when Justin Well was about to preach and he said, "Just the Holy Spirit come." I'm like, what a cool prayer to pray when you've got the likes of Diddy old Biden in the room, and you've got loads of leaders. You've got Trudeau as well, and obviously the British ones and all around the world. So what I thought is clearly the Queen had a hand in that. The plotting, the planning, the scriptures, like we know that she did in terms of what song she wanted, who she wanted reading what. I mean, and I just thought, come on, yes. I was like so proud to be British. Yeah. So I actually went into the day thinking, I don't know whether I'll watch the funeral or not, because it's a funeral. And like, I love the Queen, but it's a funeral at the end of the day. I don't like going to funerals. Yeah. Like, I barely watch the royal weddings, let alone a funeral. But I'm so glad I did. I thought, this is significant. There's like the most viewed TV thing in history, isn't it? Which is insane. I think something like, 2 billion people or something like that.
I'm going to choose to no longer quote any number-based statistics on Fire Mountain.
No, but she was the first queen in 1,000 years.
So, just for clarity, because I know a lot of you use Fire Mountain when you're
Louise is cracking up at this,
dude, when you're in regular conversation, pulling stats from Fire Mountain, quoting them like it's fact. Yeah. She's the sixth in 1,000 years. Just for clarity.
Which is quite different.
Number 6.
Which is quite different.
I don't know how I got number 1. It all went one
Amazing.
way.
But no, I thought the funeral was bang on. Yeah. And I actually liked the ceremony. I don't normally like religious ceremonial stuff, but I actually thought very tasteful, but totally sincere, in my opinion. So the only thing I didn't like was bagpipes. I could have just got rid of bagpipes.
Oh, I like that.
She loves bagpipes. I
like that final, the lone bagpiper,
and
like they turn and walk out. I think that's quite like...
So she requested him. She requested him.
Oh, wow. That exact guy.
That exact guy. So every morning, I think when she's at Balmoral...
9 a.m. outside her window.
Something like that. I don't know what time it is. I'm surprised it's that late. But yeah, like banging out those bagpipes. The funny thing is, I was away with some of our leaders in our movement, and there's a few Scottish people there. So I was cutting out the bagpipes, and for them that is such racism. I had this paper document, and I was sat next to a Scottish pastor, Brian Campbell, and I wrote "bagpipes suck" on this document and tried to draw some, and literally I was just hacking off all the Scots. Basically, I was just saying like, shoot the bagpiper, please, seriously.
I thought before the funeral that was ridiculously well choreographed. However, they did that amazing. Yeah. I thought most of the service. I agree with you. I thought that the service actually felt like I was at a church, proper church funeral.
Yeah.
Not like a.
Secular,
We're doing it
humanist.
in the church, but it's got nothing to do with it. Like I felt like, wow, this is a real church funeral.
Yeah.
My highlight of the entire funeral thing was Biden arriving late, being told to stop, so the war heroes could walk in.
Yeah.
And they just stopped him.
That was cool.
And I thought
that was cool.
That's exactly how
know
that
your
should
place.
be. Yeah.
Know your place, America.
Yeah, it was really good. And then putting him literally like in the back.
I don't even know if he knows what country he was in, to be honest. I don't even know what funeral.
Yeah.
Who's died?
He was probably thinking, am I at my own?
When's Meghan getting here?
Yeah, it's just, ironically, she did.
Can I just go back to the bagpipers just for a minute?
Because you love the bagpipers.
Well, I heard this great thought, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what the truest definition of a gentleman is?
What?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Someone who can play the bagpipes, but doesn't.
Oh, I love it.
Typically, that joke is someone who knows how to play the accordion, but doesn't. Or chooses not to.
Although
that's a definition of a gentleman.
If you had to choose, okay, accordion or bagpipes.
Well, I would choose accordion. But that said, I don't.
So what you would prefer is at the end of the funeral, this moving thing, the Queen's coffin's getting lowered into the vault.
Well, you know what? Like, I think the harsh thing with bagpipes is you can practice for years and you can be the best in your field, but still starting them sounds like a car wreck, doesn't it?
It's
like
true.
As you squeeze air out of the lamb's guts.
And that I think that you're so right, because it just like it broke it, like it's all silent, it's all silent. But all you hear is, and then you think, surely you could have got there before that, or marked it afterwards, or I don't know, done it quieter.
Yeah.
But there you
One thing I was encouraged by was Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, saying that he knows. Now, obviously, do we trust Justin Welby? Well, I guess we have to, really. Ultimately, he is the head of the Church of England. But he said he knows for himself that Prince Charles has the same faith as his mom. And obviously, he's in proximity with the royal family. So either he's just a total liar, or he genuinely believes that Prince Charles does not. And actually, I thought there was the right sense of emotion and reverence given to the occasion without it becoming really dreary and somber.
Yeah,
I loved all the procession through London as well. The bit before, not so much the bit after. That
the bit after,
long-winded, wasn't it?
The bit after where they were like, "You're gonna have to walk 94 miles."
Dude, I
was like, "What?" I literally walked out the room, went and did a whole lot of things, came back in, and those dudes are still.
Well, I watched Lord of the Rings trilogy, and they're still walking. At one point, I said, "Boys, stand at the window. They might come down our road in a minute." They're walking everywhere.
Who's that amongst them? Frodo with the ring heading to Mordor.
What, did you see that? Yeah, exactly. Did you see the rhythm of the left, right? Everyone in order. I thought that is so crazy.
And that guy playing, you're just thinking, drummer dude, just hit a bit quicker. Just pick up the pace. But just doom, doom, instead of doom.
Yeah, it was a good funeral. But obviously now, King Charles. So we're calling him king, but is there a coronation coming?
So
there must be, mustn't there?
So yeah, from what I understand, because I'm up on all royal.
What does your search engine say?
There's the automatic transition. So the moment the Queen died, he becomes king.
Okay.
Then he gets recognized by that ascension-y, council-y typey thing that happened.
Okay.
Which had all of those like crazy. Or every prime minister that's like there, all these representatives from church.
Okay.
They formally recognize him as king.
Okay.
They then make the pronouncement that he has formally been recognized as king, and that happened at St. James outside the palace or something.
Okay.
And then after the period of mourning and whatever, then there's the coronation.
Okay.
To coronate. Coronate? Is that the word?
Coronize.
Coronize. Yeah. To coronize.
Coronate is the word.
To coronate him as king. So he's already king. He was recognized as king, and now he'll be shown to be king.
Okay. Well, there we go. And that'll be interesting, because that's the next big thing on the royal calendar now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, watching all that made me just want to go to London again and go and see some of those sites. But that aside, Louise came up with this thought of what is it like to be the king or the Prince Charles finding out that your mama's gone and that that potential seat that you've been waiting for 50 years is now landed on your lap, and this is what she got. So check this out.
I know. Gutting. You didn't see me. On a more positive note, the good news is I've been promoted. So, every cloud. You're still thinking about the bad news, aren't you?
There's no good news, David. It's only bad news and irrelevant news.
Yeah, that's not a phrase though, is it? I couldn't come out and go, oh, I've got some bad news and some irrelevant news.
You just told us about Neil. Kept your promotion to yourself.
Yeah, right.
Should have told us the good news first, got
There
you happy.
is no good news, David.
I think promotion is genuinely considered good news.
Creative or what? That's good, eh?
That's funny. It's very funny. That's great. That's very funny.
That was her understanding. Okay, so, anyways,
Great.
mucking about aside, I like that.
That was funny.
So I think we lasted. So obviously, Britain got into a state of reflection and a sense of like patriotism and a sense of unity, and it just felt like COVID's gone, pandemic's over. Obviously, the Queen's gone, but now God save the King. Okay, we're into a new season, and then 3 days in or whatever, as what is it? Putin hits the news, saying, "I want to rain nukes down on your head in London."
It's crazy.
So, how are you dealing with that?
Happy I don't live in London.
How far? If a nuclear bomb hits London, what's the impact zone?
So, drawing on all of my vast nuclear knowledge, I got no idea.
I'm going to find out.
Yeah, you'll find out because it's worth knowing to know if we should move further away or not.
Yeah.
Phil, we're all coming to Cornwall.
Penzance. Yeah, that place is totally safe. Okay.
So if movies have shown us anything, you all want to move to the southern hemisphere because if nuclear war happens, basically the whole of the northern hemisphere is wiped out. But down southern hemisphere, absolutely fine. Really? So because if movies have taught you anything.
So what we need to do is live with John and Carrie Scampton then.
Basically,
we need to move to Australia.
Yeah, basically Africa will become like the host nations, bringing all the refugees from the West.
I imagine
in
that.
It. But that's if movies have taught us anything. So let's kind of just go with that.
So apparently the impact zone, there's a map here of if Hiroshima was dropped. Now obviously tech has come on a lot since then, but it really would have hit the central of London, and the farthest reaches of it would have been Kensington, Clapham.
Oh, okay.
South Bermondsey.
They were fine.
But I think that, I'm pretty sure. But I'm also thinking like Israel has that, what's it called, like the Iron Dome or something like that. There's something dome, isn't there, where when Palestine fire rockets over, things kind of just go up and just deal with it. We've got to have that, right, over our borders, you would think.
You'd hope, but who knows? Who knows?
So what did you make of Putin's kind of war cry?
It's really tricky. I think my own personal opinion when I think about it is that he's a guy who's lost a war trying to save face.
Yeah.
And now using the only thing that he has left to try and get the outcome he's after.
Okay.
So what's crazy, what started as we'll go in, it'll be quick, we'll get him done. What's the Ukraine
by the end of the
going
week
to do? They're a weak, little sub part of all of a sudden became a proper, we're not winning, to we're getting driven back.
Yeah.
We have to now conscript 300,000 people from just regular life to come and join the army to go and fight, which is crazy. I was thinking about that the other day. 300,000 people.
Yeah.
And if I don't get what I want, I'm going to blow you all up.
Well, have you seen that the flight tickets out of Russia have soared because the demand, people are trying to get out of that country, residents
just
before that.
Protest, which I don't really understand. I feel like the Russian people have miscalculated the effectiveness of protesting in their own country, surely. You're thinking, it's only, the guy's unhinged, man.
Well, I think, didn't he changed some legislation or something 2 or 3 years ago, which meant that his leadership couldn't be challenged.
It's crazy.
And that passed through because people, the narrative that we get peddled over here is that the people kind of liked Putin, and they liked the fact that he was strengthening the motherland and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, like you say, wildly underestimated the resilience of Ukraine, and the sense that Is someone at that door?
I don't know. The best thing to do in these situations is just to go off and have a look. And
we're good.
welcome back.
Oh, we're good. I was getting freaked out with it. I go, what's going on? Someone's watching us. But yeah, I think underestimated the resolve of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I think also the outcry of the world.
Yeah.
In terms of, I think he got Crimea with very little kickback. And thought, no one really cares. People have got their own stuff going on.
Yeah.
In and out, get it done. But yeah, I think, I think I'm not particularly scared. Well, obviously I'm not. I'm a Christian. But like, it's the whole thing of this. It feels like every leader in the world is flipping nuts.
Yeah.
And it's like, historically you could rely on the US to have some sense of dignity and control and authority in this situation. But now we've got like a guy who doesn't have a clue what he's doing, like you're saying, and walk into a funeral late. Yeah. Like, what is going on? Like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's probably, for me, what I think is the concerning part for me is you look around and you think, how will the world respond well in a way that would also go, yeah, we're not, like, you can't just do this.
Yes.
Like, you look at World War II and you think there was just a group of leaders who coalesced together and went, yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah. Don't really care. We will find a way. Yeah. And it was so weird because I was juxtapositioning it when they were doing that long walk after the funeral, like that long walk. They came past the parliamentary buildings and stuff, and they went walking past where Winston Churchill.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Is,
yeah,
which was a great shot. Like of the, I thought,
it's quite high, wasn't it?
Cool.
Looking down on the procession.
At the procession, but I thought, like, what would be happening now if Winston Churchill was prime minister? Yeah. With what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia, what would it feels like the response would be so different to where we are now, which is like all the world leaders are going, oh, violating the UN, as if he gives one about the UN.
I think that ultimately there's an agenda at the moment to demonize Winston Churchill, isn't there? There's one to kind of outlaw him as kind of a warmonger and all this sort of stuff, which is just crazy. Because until this crazy woke phase that we're going through, he was considered one of the greatest prime ministers of all time. But now people would have different opinions on those matters. But for sure, I think that strength of leadership, that strength of character to not just give in to what the people want in their own country, but to actually do what's right for the world. Yeah. And I think the whole thing with Churchill could see the potential that if Hitler goes unchallenged, then it's not that we're safe. It's that, like, in 3 years, this is going to be on our doorstep. Yeah. So rather nip it in the bud now, rather take the battle to him. And I think there's some of that. But I think right now the world is so polarized and so divided that no one really knows. No one really knows what to. I don't know what to do.
For you at home who are wondering what's happening in the studio, Dom decided to bring his dog with him,
and I'm regretting it now.
And now it's just the dog is everywhere.
Well, he's just like he's coming over and he's like, right, sit down. He's dealt with now. I've just. You know what? It's my anniversary. It's my anniversary today.
Oh, happy anniversary.
15 years, mate.
Dude.
Well done, me. Married to Louise for 15 years, eh?
15 years. That's great.
That's a long time. How long have you been married?
So this will be our 22nd year.
22nd.
But, dude, 15 years. Amazing.
It sounded good until you said 22 years.
You sure Louise didn't make that video about you? Was the original title 15 years in, I'm finally getting out?
She's loving life. She's absolutely so contented and fulfilled in every single way. It's amazing.
Yeah, that video looks like it. Like she's not sitting around going, I'm so bored. I have nothing else to do.
Let me ask a question then.
Yeah.
Serious.
Okay.
Pulling it back. So with the Putin thing,
the
nuclear threat, how do you respond to that?
So,
as a believer, as a Jesus follower.
So this is going to tie into on the same level as nuclear threat, Putin.
Okay.
The Phil and Holly scandal.
Okay.
It's all at the same level. Let's just put that out there. So
tell our global viewers.
There are two presenters here who present a morning show. Would we say it's journalism? No. Would we say in any way it has a bearing on anybody's actual life? No. They basically went in during the state funeral, and everybody was passing by when we had the 15, 20-hour queue to pay respect to the
And
Queen.
David Beckham queued.
David Beckham queued. Other presenters from the media queued. Celebrities were queuing. Everybody queued. Yep. They came in down the side and kind of were on camera and came out, and the country lost its mind. It's fair to say Britain lost its mind. And they were trying to make this thing of going, no, we were working because we had media passes. Yeah. And so we were just taken through and we weren't actually getting in anybody's and all this kind of stuff. And everybody's like, yeah, no. And I think this morning they said 47,000 people or something had signed a petition to get rid of them. Yeah. But I don't really know what I think about.
Well, I've heard that Holly might be resigning or something from her role because the hate is real.
Yeah, it's well.
I mean, when the British public turn against someone, they really turn against someone, and they don't like British people.
No,
don't like queue jumpers.
Exactly.
You go anywhere in Europe, it's always the Brits who are queuing, always, and the Spaniards and the judges are like whatever. Boom,
there's a lot. There's a lot you could do, and British people would turn a blind eye to it. Look at Boris Johnson.
Yeah,
literally.
So
Boris
true.
Johnson breaking all the rules. He could. We're okay. Queue jumping. That's the game. That is the game.
I really want to show that meme, but you're not going to let me, are you?
No, I'm not going to let you show it. It's funny.
I mean, there's some funny things circulating on social media. One of them is there's this artist impression of Phil and Holly Willoughby sitting in a wheelchair, saying they're basically going to go to Alton Towers, basically get fast tracked around the theme park. Just that, they clearly have disregard. And I think what's interesting, like you say, that we would jump so big on that, but really, it's for the most part the attitude of the elite, isn't it? Just we're better than this, or maybe that wasn't in their head. Maybe they were just generally doing some media coverage. I don't know. But the problem is the British public. There's a sense of maybe cut a queue at a theme park for journalism, but not to see the Queen. And, that's serious, isn't it? That's so crazy.
I was thinking about all of that and going, it feels like what's been lost across the leadership is a sense of humility. And I think that the Queen did this well in terms of there was that, I think you were saying to it, was the funny story about where the Queen was stopped by two Americans, her and her secret, her secret police officer. Yeah. And instead of positioning herself as, hey, I'm the queen. Look at me. She positioned herself as, I'll take the photo of you with someone who knows the Queen.
Yeah.
But there is also something in that you I feel like that level of near humility also gives a sense of real authority. Yes. And I was thinking about in the Bible it talks about the last will be first and the first will be last, and you need to serve you need to lead by serving, putting yourself under the people. Yes. And I was just kind of reflecting on all of that and thinking it's a weird place to be where what we have is people who are now in significant position of power, but who are also going, this should give me maximum rights in terms of not having to queue or being able to dictate the whole outcome of an entire country simply so that I don't end up looking bad. Yeah. Being able to, basically take... there is a level of true arrogance to go, if 300,000 people have to die for me to come out looking all right. Yeah. That's worth it. I couldn't conceive of that happen. I couldn't conceive of the Queen going, well, let's, to save, myself, my position and my castles, let's just get everyone dead. I couldn't conceive that ever.
So,
there.
okay.
So kind of that, in my head, that's banging around.
It's definitely a leadership crisis. I mean, we've acknowledged that before, haven't we? And people's wrong understanding of their platform and their influence and wielding it in a way which is self-serving rather than other person serving. It's all self-centric. I was thinking the other day, if there's two attributes that I think, if you hold in balance, you can be an effective leader. It was hunger and humility. Yeah. Hunger speaks to aspiration, ambition, because you need that as a leader. You need vision, you need a sense of purpose and a sense of conviction and a sense of dog with a boneness about it. I've got to do this, that hunger. But that uncoupled from humility makes you just an arrogant swine that actually tramples on people to get to their outcome. So humility is obviously so key, and obviously Jesus demonstrates that profoundly and says so in another place, humble yourselves under
Yeah.
God's mighty hand that in due time he will lift you up. But like humility alone without hunger and drive actually is almost can be seen as apathy, indifference, or even weakness.
Yes.
And obviously humility isn't weakness, but the thing that keeps humility, I think, in step is that sense of hunger. And I think that it's ultimately Jesus says, don't be like the Gentiles that lord it over people.
Yeah.
But be the last, serve
Yeah.
people. But I think also you do have to have a sense of burden and vision. And I think part of the challenge in our world is that we have hungry leaders, but hungry for the wrong things:
Yeah.
power, money, wealth, influence,
Yeah.
and very little humility
Yeah.
to say I got this wrong or whatever.
And then I think that what couples on top of that is, as Christians, we no longer respond to humility. We actually respond to the opposite.
Okay.
So instead of being people who go, when we see humility being displayed, this is where we gravitate towards, this is what we celebrate, this is even who we would follow, we jump on the celebrity bandwagon-y culture, and we go, when we see that, that's what we're going to go after.
Yeah.
And so I think then it reinforces this idea of like VIP-ish. I don't really know what the word is, but that like privileged VIP rights thing. I remember early days when I was coming out of Bible college. There was always lots of talk around have you like paying your dues, doing the bad stuff, as if one day you'll no longer need to do the bad stuff. But every Sunday morning we know that not to be true, as it feels like I could have been fresh out of Bible college.
It's so true, isn't it? Do you not think Stephen Furtick does that stuff? You don't think he's setting up speakers and loading trailers on a Sunday?
I don't. Also, he has a building, so if he was, go look into that.
Okay.
But
so
my hope would be that he would.
Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it? Is that even if the times change and your resources changed and your setup changes, is that your heart actually stays humble and soft and like all that. So on that basis, the greatest leader who's ever lived, in your opinion? Oh, you can't have Jesus. That's a given, obviously.
The greatest leader who's ever lived.
I think I know who you'll say.
That's hard. I don't know.
I want to write it on my phone.
I don't know. I need time. I need some time to think about it.
Okay, I'll give you mine.
Yours is Hillary. I've written it on my phone. I know it is.
Have you seen that junk she's put on Apple TV?
No, not yet.
Ugh.
Is it quality?
It's her and her daughter basically going around
Chelsea.
America, driving around America, just saying, like, talking to heroes. But they're not heroes who have, like, literally done something for their country. It's heroes who have, like, had their penis chopped off or something. It's unbelievable. Just like, oh, you're a hero. You're the first one to become a woman.
Lesser known heroes.
Honestly, dude, it's like, ugh.
Okay, who did you go for?
For you? Or who am I going for me?
For you.
So I think in the world, it will be Churchill
Yeah.
and the Queen.
Yeah.
I actually think that great leaders for
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
reasons. Not perfect, but
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
In the church, Billy Graham.
Yeah. So I would agree. I think that
Abraham Lincoln as well is up there for me as well.
Oh, really? Abraham Lincoln.
I like Abraham Lincoln a lot.
Do you like him because of what he accomplished? I mean, I don't know a lot about him.
Yeah. I think that he was way ahead of his time in terms of his outlook. Particularly, I guess his ambition as well on races, like, to get rid of racism, to get rid of slavery. And it's funny because typically people think Republicans are racist.
Yeah.
Democrats are just progressive or whatever. And that's always, but actually Republicans were the ones that...
Yeah, historically it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. And people think Abraham Lincoln must be a Democrat because his views were quite progressive in the sense that he wanted to free the slaves from the South. So I really like Abraham Lincoln because he had a long road as well, didn't he? As in, I thought he was good leader. It came from humble beginnings, farming and all that.
Non-real leader for me.
Yeah.
But if I think world leaders aspire to be like that leader, but it's not a real person,
Okay.
would be Jed Bartlett from the West.
Oh, come on.
A proper... I think that if world leaders, I know you watch this, if you aspire to be like Jed,
He had an anger problem, though, I think.
He did, but he had an underpinning and understanding of faith, and I think that was what made his character
I think one of the reasons that I think I know is because he was wise, but his wisdom came from being well read. He read extensively. I mean, this fictional character that we're talking about, he had thoughts on everything, on the origin of civilization, Western values, all this sort of stuff. And really, he I think embodied essentially that understanding and deep sense of wisdom that most people never work to achieve and attain, even though it's available to every single person on Earth. It's a secret power, man. It's when you can start doing that.
And there's an episode where the press secretary says to him, "Why did you end up studying at Notre Dame when you could have gone to any big school?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Because I wanted to be a priest. That's what I wanted to do." And she was like, "Oh, why didn't you become one?" And he goes, "Because he met his wife."
Okay.
And he was like, "Because I met my wife, and so I wanted to get married to her."
Okay.
And so,
nice.
and then he went into politics, and he went into.
So what? She wouldn't have let him be. I see.
Because he was Catholic.
I see.
But
is that still the case? Can Catholic people priests still not get married?
Well, I don't know.
Right. Fair enough.
I was going to say it. So
Jed Bartlett, mate.
That's
Can you give me a real life one though? I mean, I like it, but he's a character. It's like saying Captain America.
Yeah, Papa Smurf.
Captain America's the best leader because he's like throws his shield everywhere and kills aliens.
It's really tricky, but I probably think in my lifetime, I probably would go Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Yeah. As my non
even though
leader.
he would have backed some bills that you would be dead against.
Yes. But I think overall he was more measured. So in the UK, if you said to me, who do I think the best leader that in my lifetime in the UK was non-church-based leader, I would probably be pulling between Tony Blair or...
Tony Blair.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Tony Blair or David Cameron.
Tony Blair had his moments. It was good. It was the war that ruined his reputation.
Yeah,
and his legacy.
I think that he somehow just he instinctively understood Britain.
Right.
Like he just knew what made Britain.
Yeah,
and he could do that. Church-wise, it's really
well, what I put for
tricky.
you.
Yeah, go.
But I don't know whether
I'll
they
see
would be
if
classed
I
as a
agree
leader
with
or
you.
a thinker. But he's certainly a man of legacy. Bonhoeffer.
Oh yeah. So
That's what I put for you.
I would go. Would I call? He was a leader. He was a leader. I would think.
In the face of great risk.
I would, yeah. I mean, he would probably be in my top.
Oh, right, church leader. Modern church leader then, Richard.
Modern church leader. I agree with you. I'd probably either go Billy Graham. I might even go Rick Warren.
Come more recent. Think more UK based.
More UK. More Bournemouth.
Well, and he's got to be local, isn't it? Someone who you're actually in proximity with, and you can validate that they're the real deal up close.
Oh, it's a real deal. Phil Coleman.
Well, he's gone now, isn't he? He's a goner.
Oh, Jake Parker. It's got to be Jake then.
Jake Parker's I appreciate that, but he's a bit wayward, isn't he? He's a bit all over the place. Like,
I know Adam Bird. That's where we're at. Adam, yeah.
I mean, someone probably a bit more younger, really like, pushing the envelope,
a bit younger,
coming
okay,
on the
cool.
front foot, kind of really going places.
But yeah, so Free Bird, still okay. Louise Bird,
you're the man, really.
Oh, okay, it's got to be a man.
Well, proper godly headship.
Oh, it's got to be you then, Dom. It must
really?
be you. Wow.
Oh, God, that's made me blush. God, that backfired. Cheers, mate. That's really kind. Thanks for saying that.
35 minutes in. This is where we've gotten to.
It's so hard because you can't really get too deep into anything, so we just do everything on a super stupid level.
Really superficial
Today
level.
we've spoken about the Queen, Charles, Billy Graham, Bonhoeffer, Putin, David Cameron,
Jed Bartlett.
Jed Bartlett. We deconstructed the leadership model of Jed Bartlett, which is like.
Although I still think.
I mean, do you think you just want him, Martin Sheen, as president?
Okay, so here is some West Wing fact, and I can actually talk about this with authority because it's something I know about.
Okay.
That after the West Wing came out, they did a poll across America when the elections were coming up, and they put Jed Bartlett into the mix, and he would have won with 67% of all of the votes of the people if he was a real person.
West Wing was that big?
And they said to him, so they actually approached him and said, would you consider becoming a politician and running? And he was like, he wouldn't. And he was all, I don't share nearly any political views that Jed Bartlett holds.
Really?
He's nowhere near liberal enough for Martin Sheen's
Really?
actual views, and he's way too conservative for me, and he doesn't want to obviously be a politician. He's an actor.
Wow.
But it was fascinating that
yeah, he's
people
born
were
of
like,
Hollywood, which is
Yeah.
blatantly
Yeah.
lib central.
that people were like, if that was a real person, that's who we would want leading our
Wow.
country rather than who is on the table,
There
which
we
I
go.
think is so crazy.
Wow.
So
Let's go.
crazy.
What a day.
So there we are.
Have a great Sunday evening, guys.
Firemount.
In place of songs of praise.
Yeah, Fire Mountain episode 38, where you've learned a lot about nothing useful to your life.
Oh, yeah. Have a great week, I guess.
See you later.